Welcome, smarties, super smarties. Let the learning begin. Okay, so check in on your zones of regulation. The goal is to be green, regulated, and ready to learn. Good. Alrighty, so today for our Growth Mindful Mindshift, we're going to borrow a page from the book of Alexander. Now, Alexander has this really cool mindful toy that you can squeeze, and when you squeeze it really hard, the eyes bug out. And so it's a panda, so it's Poppin Panda. So when you squeeze the panda, his eyes pop out. So he calls it Poppin Panda. So how we're going to do Poppin Panda is we're going to take a breath. And then when we're going to punch, we're going to pull in, we're going to squeeze and punch out. So we're going to take a breath in. And then the eyes are going to bug out when we squeeze. Okay, out they go. So it's and you can do it with both hands. One more time. Great. That gives our brain and our body a good little break, getting us ready, focused, and regulated. So we're calm, focused, our attention is here, and we're self-aware, so we're regulated and ready to learn. That's a strategy you can use anytime throughout the day or the evening when you're just having a hard time processing all that's going on. You could be excited or distracted or upset or angry or frustrated or tired. And that moment of the Poppin Panda can help you get some of that anxiety out and also get some of the oxygen in. All right, so let's change the date. It's no longer the 23rd. It's still April, but it's not 23. It's one more than 23. 23, 24. Down and over, right? And down some more. That makes 4. Now, yesterday was Thursday. So I'm going to make the face space. And I'm going to take the information from my smart card and from my calendar, my daily entry. I'm going to move it up. So capital T-H-U-R-S-D-A-Y. And then a period, it's just a telling sentence. Today is not Thursday. Today is Friday. Now let's check our smart cards. Ready? Thursday to Friday. Friday. I used to love Fridays because it would be the work week goes over and we get to go home and have an evening off. Now the work week just continues every day. There's always work in a digital classroom. You're never free. You probably feel that as a student too. Today is Friday. Capital F-R-I-D-A-Y. And then a period. A telling sentence. So if today is Friday, one more day than Friday, we're going to the last day of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday. Capital S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y. Yesterday was Thursday. It's in the past. Today is Friday. It's in the present. Tomorrow will be Saturday. It's in the future. Now today is, I'm just going to transfer that information down because I have a little fun activity to do here. So I'm going to move the Friday down here. F-R-I-D-A-Y, comma. And April 24th. I put a 2 in the tens place. I put a 4 in the ones place. 24. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. Now, I've been talking a lot with my students about, well, and you too, here, we've been talking here and also on my virtual platform where we work through a computer, face through screen, face to face through screen, face to face through screen. Yeah, that's it. And we've been talking a lot about high frequency words and sight words. Remember, high frequency words are the words you cannot sound out. Sight words, some of them, a lot of them, many of them you can sound out. But, and, even if you can sound them out, they happen frequently in text. So high frequency words might be all over the text, but you can sound many of the high frequency words out. So some sight words are on the high frequency word list. Some sight words are not. You just have to know that that's how they're spelled. So when you see them by sight, you have to know that that's the structure of the word. They might defy all the rules that you've learned, and you just have to, with your eyes, take a picture and remember the order of those letters. So on our list here, let's read it. The, it, we, like, my, see, I, to, can, and is. And I see I was awake and I made a mistake. It kind of caught me and I just figured out what it was. What do we know about mistakes? Besides, I make them all the time. They are expected, they need to be inspected, and respected. So, when I was giving you explanation of the high frequency words, I realized that sight words are the ones that cannot be sounded out. High frequency words can. Now, sight words can be high frequency words, so that's kind of a misnomer. A sight word can be a high frequency word. The cannot be sounded out based on the rules that we learned for English. TH is a digraph, and when T and H get together, they say, but when you see them separately, they say t. So the and E says the sound of A in like around. So it's kind of defying the rules too. Now I teach my students that sound because the is one of the 10 most frequent words that we see when we read and we write in context. So to me, if you're going to see it that many times, it should have a rule that goes with it. So I just teach it as one of the sounds of E, the last sound, and we attach it to the so that my students learn it. But that's not a typical rule. It's atypical, but if you can remember it, it just becomes then a mnemonic. Because once you know it, you don't really need to know the rule behind it. This is, remember in my classroom, if it's a letter, we say its name. And if it's the word we're using in a sentence, we say That way I can differentiate it as a teacher whether my students are identifying it just as a letter or also as a word. And I do the capital and the lowercase because this starts a lot of the sentences that we write in transitional kindergarten and kindergarten. So I want them to see it in context. That's the only reason. It, we, like, my, see, I, to, can, and is. Now, I would say that there are some people who say to is also a sight word because O doesn't typically say ooh when it's all by itself as an O. It generally has two O's together. But I teach it as a rule, so I don't necessarily identify it as a sight word, but I suppose that you could. Because if you sounded it out, it should say ta, or toe. And this is not ta or toe. So this could also be recognized as a sight word. But because of the frequency with which you read it and write it, it's also a high frequency word. So now using this as our kind of our support board, because I didn't have room for a strip up here and over here because this technically is just a strip, I wanted to use this as kind of our guide to fill in these words. So I have missing letters, and we're going to fill in the missing letters to make the words. So here I see an S, a blank and an S. So I'm going to look and see where I see an S. Oh, I only see one S, and it's right here. So this has to be the word of is. going to kiss this one goodbye. Now, let's look at the next one. There's an A and then two open spaces. So let's look and see if we can find a capital or lowercase a. Oh, it's lowercase a. Oh, look. This is the only A at the beginning. A, N, D. This is and. A, N, D. So we're filling in the missing letters to make high frequency and silent words. There's a blank line and then an O. So I'm using my strategy of information that I already know and can see, and I'm trying to figure out what the missing information is so that I can use what's there, fill in what's missing to complete what's expected. So it ends in an O and there's two letters. No O's, no O's. Here it is, T-O. T-O, two. Is and two. Is and two. And I forgot to kiss and goodbye. Now let's look at the next row. Blank, Y. Blank, Y. M-Y. I don't see any other Y's, so it has to be my. Now see here I see a blank line. Just one. So I have to find one letter that is also a word. This has three. This has two. This has three. This has three. This has one. This has four. This has one. So there are two of them that have one. So I'm going to use a. And I think I'll do a lowercase because that can be a word all by itself. Two letters in the alphabet are letters and also words. They completely stand alone. A and I. So I'm going to kiss a goodbye, kiss I goodbye. Now I'm going to the next row. So I have is and two, my, I, and I need, it's two letters long. Is was two letters long, but I already used that. Two, no it's not. It's an I. Oh, one was I and S, so I have to look for another one. I-T, it. I-T, it. Now the next one is an L and a K and two missing letters. L, I'm looking for an L. Here's an L, and there's a K. So it has to be L-I-K-E. That is like. L-I-K-E, like. This one has a C and then two open lines. So it has two more letters. I don't see any C's. Oh, I've already used this whole row. So I'm not going to even need to look in this row anymore. I have already used this whole row. So now I don't need this row or this row. So when I'm searching, I don't even need to let my eyes glance over there. I'm going to stay right here in this first row. So I'm looking for C. Here's a C. C-A-N. C-A-N. That's can. It like can. Now I see an S and two lines. Oh, and I have to kiss can goodbye. S, here's an S and two lines. S-E-E. S-E-E. Spell C. S-E-E. Spell C. Then I see a single line and an E and two lines and an E. But I need the single line and an E. Single, one, two, then an E. One and then an E. So it has to be a single letter. Has to be we, W. So this is W-E, we. Which means the last one is the high frequency word, the. It's also a sight word. Can't sound it out. T-H-E. That is tricky. See, we, the. So using the words that I already knew that were recorded here on our support mat and looking at what was already listed up here on our board, I was able to take what I knew, plug that into what I had to figure out what I needed. Great. Let's read these. Is and to, my, I, it, like, can, see, we, the. Super job. All right, get on the bus, everybody. That was so much fun. Let's go on a trip. Honk, honk, beep, beep. Get on the bus. Climb on the bus for our learning field trip. build up your schema. All right, so now we're going to look at language arts, which is a fancy special way of saying language. Working with language. The words that we say, the words that we hear, the words that we speak, the words that we read, and the words that we write. So if you look, I have a title here. It says Parts, Syllables, Sounds, Phonemes. So parts and sounds are our TK, kindergarten, first grade, second grade words. Syllables and phonemes are our Harvard words, our big words that mean the same thing. So what we're looking for is how many parts are in each word that we see the picture for, and how many sounds make up those words. Now, one of the boxes is going to record the syllables, and one is going to record the sounds. So we'll put an X every time we hear a syllable, and we'll put the letter for each of the sounds, or letters. There might be a combination of sounds. So this is a picture of a soda. Oh no, it's beans. And beans come in a what? A can. So let's clap the parts. Can. How many parts? We only clapped once. Chin check it. Can. Our chin fell one time, so it's one part. So we're going to do this. One part. Can is a one-part word. Now we have to use our listening arm. Put the word can on it, and then we have to break the parts apart. K, n. So the phonemes we hear are k, n, k, k. That would be a C, a. That's an A. So there's 1, 2, 3 phonemes or 3 sounds and 3 letters that make it up. So let's try this one. You can chop down a tree with this. It's called an axe. Let's clap the parts. Axe. Axe. How many parts? 1. So there's only 1 syllable. Now let's clap the sounds. Not clap the sounds. Let's touch the sounds. Axe. 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 How many sounds? Axe. Axe. 2 sounds. Let's do the letters. A, X, X. What is this? A flag. Let's clap the parts. Flag. How many syllables? Flag. Just 1. Let's kiss it. Put a teacher kiss. Now let's clap the sound. Not clap the sounds. Let's touch the sounds. O, A, G. O, A, G. How many? 4. So it's O, A, G. F, O, L, A, G. So there are 4 letters and 4 sounds or phonemes. Let's continue. This is a picture of a fish. 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 How many syllables? Only one part. How many sounds? I, sh. This is where it gets tricky. We hear I, sh. But now look at the letters. I, sh. So these sit together. Another diagram. Shh. Shut the bus door. Can you believe it? That's super tricky. We're going to need to get our camera back out and take a picture of that so we don't forget. It's only 1 sound at the end, but it's 2 letters making it. What is this a picture of? Sun. Sun. How many syllables? Sun. Only 1 part. Sun. Let's sound it out and isolate the phonemes. S, n. S, n. 1, s, 2, n, 3. Let's do the letters. S, U as an umbrella. Like nose. Let's continue. This is a bug. 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 How many syllables or parts? Only one. Now let's do the sounds. Bug. B. G. B. G. 3. So there's 3 sounds, and they're made by B. What letter do you expect to see as a B? Just like sun, it's a U. G. G. Just like G, it's just like flag, it's a G. Bug. These are some bird eggs in a nest. Nest. Only one part or syllable. Nest. Nest. How many phonemes? 4 of them. Nest. And there are only 4 letters. The letter we expect to see is an N. The letter we expect to see is an E. Next we expect an S. Nest. And finally a T. Let's go to the next picture. Here is a picture of a mop. 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 How many parts? Just 1. Let's do the sounds. Mop. P. P. How many sounds? 3. Let's isolate them and say the names of the letters that make those sounds. As in mitten. We expect to see an M. As in octopus. We expect to see an O. And P as in pig. We expect to see a P. Now this is a companion you would use in cleaning up at your house. You sweep with it. It's called a broom. 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 Just one part. B, oo, B, oo, Only 4 sounds, but this one's going to be a little tricky too. So we have a B, oo, 4 sounds, so there's a B, R, oo. Now that would be an O, but there's an O next to him, so we're not going to give it its own box in this one. Broom. Or we could do the boxes just like this for broom. We could make them a little bit different. B, oo, So we'd have B, oo, but we'd have B, R, O, O, M. So our brain would remember we need to take a picture. So we remember there are 5 letters, but there are only 4 sounds. Here's a picture of a pig, pig, pig. 1 sound. 1 part, pig, p, ig, p, ig. 3 sounds, so there are going to be 3 phonemes. P, ig, p, I, like iguana. I, g, like guitar. And like the end of bug and flag, it's a G. The last one is a picture of an ant. Let's clap the parts. Ant. How many syllables? Ant. Only 1. Do the sounds. Ant. Ant. 3 sounds. 3 phonemes. Ant. And only 3 letters. A of apple. A is what we expect to see. Like your nose. N is what we expect to see. T, t, t. And T is what we see. Ant. Nice job. Now this is a really fun game that you can play at home. Someone at your house can make the little boxes, and you could just make boxes on a strip and then make other letters, and you could lay them out, and you could do picture cards, or they could draw it on a white mat, and you could erase, like you could put it on a piece of paper, slide it into the white mat, write the letters on the front and the kisses to show how many phonemes and how many parts, how many sounds and how many syllables, and then erase it when you're done. But what I want you to do is think about parts, how many broken parts are in there when you break it apart, and typically every vowel determines how many parts. Except in a word like broom, there are 2 vowels, but there aren't parts. You don't say broom, you say broom, and the O sounds like one continuous vowel, but it looks like 2 separate letters. So that's generally the rule for sounds, parts. Phonemes, you have to be very careful to listen and isolate those. And when we start it, when we're really little, it's most important that you get the beginning and you can break it off, and the ending and you can punch it. The vowels, often you can just pull apart in the middle. It gets more complex when we use more than a consonant vowel consonant word, the CVC words, as we start adding more letters and more syllables. It makes it a little more difficult to sound it out. But if you can learn the skill with smaller words, you can apply the skill to bigger words. Once it's a skill and you have it in your schema, you have it in your schema and you're all good. That was super fun. I'm so glad you came along for my little field trip. Whew. My brain feels very, very full. We weren't doing math, but it was a little like math, right? Because we were counting parts. It's interesting how sometimes the lines just blur over in our learning, which is kind of good for us because it keeps us thinking, because we move from right brain to left brain, from our logical brain to our creative brain. And drawing the pictures will also help wake some of that up. Wake up. It's time to learn. All right. It's time to be done. So here's some pride. Put it inside. Here's some love. You can save that for later. You already have some of my schemas, so I'm going to hold the rest of it in. You can't have any more until tomorrow, okay? Till later. It was awesome sharing this with you. But for now, goodbye, super smarties. Come back ready to learn. I'll be ready to teach. And we'll do it tomorrow, even though it's going to be a weekend, because the coronavirus has displaced us from our classroom, our school, the room I go to that my house keys don't open. I want a school back that my house keys don't open. Bet you want that too. Well, that'll be next school year, so meanwhile, we'll just keep working on the weekends, okay? Until later, learners. Super teacher